The following program is brought to you live and is intended for all audiences, although listener discretion is advised.
Hey, are you all ready to get this started?
Going live.
Listener discretion is advised.
Keep your head out there. They're going to do dumb. Play our game. All right? Play hard, but stay poised.
3, gonna be savage. 2, grab your shit. 1, do it.
Let's be great. Let's be great.
Cheers, Bears fans! This is Bears Hour Live with Draft Dr. Phil Ottochian. I am Aldo Gandia, and also with us tonight is the smartest man in the bar room, Shane Marsaw. Yesterday, of course, the Chicago Bears lost probably their worst game in the John Fox era. A game where they were predicted to be the victors. Everyone in the newspapers picked the Bears to win. Vegas had them to win. And, of course, they went out and crapped all over the field in what was a truly miserable performance. Let's bring in Draft Dr. Phil for his opening comments on the game. Phil.
Well, Aldo, I'm a little disappointed because your Cheers Bears fans sounded like a John Fox presser.
That is so true.
It had no passion or enthusiasm.
Hey, I don't mind, getting 6 gallons of water poured on me during a 3-hour stretch while I'm watching a football game, but give me some kind of an effort on the football team, because all I did was walk out of there water soaked and really, really pissed off, man. That was ugly.
Well, you hit it right on the head. There is no script here. We just speak the truth for all of the youth and the adults, everyone checking in. But how could I not start off with what I predicted prophetically, saying the only way a team like the Chicago Bears could lose that football game going into it would be if they turned into what we've known John Fox and company for. I jokingly am going to take this kind of prophetic stance, but really ultimately it's done based on the countless hours of tape work that we put in and really standing up for what it is we've seen on the football field. So my feelings in regards to that was that there's no place like home in football sense, but for John Fox, it's been a torturous task to get on the football field and put together a game plan that's not only going to elicit confidence in your playmakers, but really use your playmakers to get the most out of everybody on the football team. And so many excuses, so many people have waged war against the bar room and myself and Shane in our quest to comment and be committed to the truth, no matter who is talking and what is going on. That is going to be the torch that we're going to light each and every time, and looking at what disgusting display that John Fox and his football team put out on that football field, Aldo. I don't know how you stayed for the whole game, because I've never left a football game or a movie theater in my life that I paid for and really go to the very bitter end of things. And in this game, I tweeted out, just get up and go and leave, because it's so disheartening to watch an offensive coordinator and his team be misusing his talent and really hindering, not helping the growth of Mitchell Trubisky. Run, pass, run, pass. One pass on a first down, he hits a strike. Then we're going to run, pass again, and run. It's so redundant that this team isn't prepared to win because they're afraid to lose. And when you're afraid to lose, you handcuff your whole roster, and everything has to become perfect. And as I watched that coach and really go out there and play your rival that you're favored for, and on paper, you are clearly the better football team. In fact, there's no doubt in my mind that a capable coach, one who planned accordingly and recognized what they needed to do. And I really put a lot of time and effort into what this team is and what this show means to Aldo and Shane and myself and obviously the podcast and so on. But I really laid down the groundwork of what needed to happen. And I'm going to bring it back up. There was one play they used from the spread. It finally came where he mesh point, gave to Jordan Howard. Howard broke a nice run, tried to run it again. They're going to run that spread option. There was a false start penalty. They completely trashed it because they now are second and 12 or second and 13, second down and 15, a false start. Holding is so messy and sloppy and unorganized for week 8. I just can't even begin on. There's so much to get to. As I was talking with the boys before we even went on the air, it's like a play on Broadway that has 7 acts. We got to get through them all to really get to the harsh reality that this coach should be fired today. There's really zero tolerance and rationale of why this guy is your head coach after what you saw come on against your rival, who's without their Hall of Fame quarterback is without their starting tight end, their right tackles out. They're playing 3 guards and a center. They have knocked out both their running backs in the game. Everything you could possibly have an advantage of, the matchup didn't help you because you're going to do it your way. And that's the scared to lose way. And when I look at this coach, Aldo, I see a guy that's recognizing the bus is stopping and he's going to have to get off. But unfortunately, we have ownership. We have a GM that's afraid to put their balls on the line and say, this isn't good enough for the fans. This isn't good enough for the season ticket holders who you guys hold in such esteem. Whatever they want, that's your fear. But how about that quarterback that's obviously taking a step back in my eyes because he's a little concerned too much to make a mistake? And I think that right there is where the general manager needs to step in and say, this whole thing is done. I'm going to allow Mr. Logains or whoever is going to be the offensive coordinator to loosen the cuffs and allow Mitch to be Mitch and do what Mitchell does best, and that's make plays and get him out of the pocket and run the spread and let him just throw down the seams and throw some strikes and build confidence. Shane, it was the first time since the season began without Glennon under center that the Chicago Bears ran a wide receiver screen and Wright almost broke it a little. If he made a different cut, he would have broke. They're not helping this kid in confidence, and the coach today, as we're going to get into, is absolutely. I had to shut it off. I told Aldo, I'm not prepared, Aldo. First time in a long time, not prepared because I couldn't even stomach listening to this coach make up excuses when he was talking about Cohen and people double teaming him and and that's why you called him your number one playmaker no less than 2 weeks ago at the bye. All of a sudden, he's not on the football field helping you do what? Make plays. So you are walking contradiction, a liar, and a cheap, phony, fake who's collecting a check and has a JV football team playing out there at Soldier Field. You've cheapened the product to an extent where I don't even have any confidence in this football team moving forward. There's no excuse to not fire this football coach. You have a fan base that needs to rise up, take to the streets, as Aldo's organizing, and let your voice be heard. You spend $45 on a jersey that's cheap, a replica. You spend $130. You send it across the ocean. You're spending $280 for how much money? Look at yourself in the mirror listening to the show, because you're the people who have the passion. You're the ones. This is okay to you? To see this kind of talent on defense? To see that running back who I said could be the best in the whole NFL, and Benny Cunningham is getting as many carries as him? Are you kidding me? Are you effing kidding me? So you've contradicted yourself everywhere, from your statements to the planning and game planning and preparedness of your football team to not only send a message to Green Bay that times are changing. You sent the message that you're the same old Bears, the same old Trestman crap, the same babies from the Midway. You're a joke. You're a laughing stock. Your football field's terrible. It's disgusting how far, if one game told the truth of what you're hiding behind the mask and the curtain. John Fox, fire John Fox. It is an anthem, and it needs to be heard, and it needs to be loud, and it needs the fan base to stand up and not tolerate what you saw on the football field on Sunday, Aldo. I can't say it any more than that. It is important that this football team not only wait until January. Let's do it now. Let's change the energy of what it is that we all have passion for, and that's this franchise and that blue, orange, and white jersey that we wear every Sunday. They are kowtowing to you, saying that you matter. Let them know, yeah, you do matter.
Shane, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Well,
I'm sorry, I got fired.
No, hey, trust me, everybody on the chat room is really enjoying what you're saying. They're all agreeing. They're saying that you're on fire, and I've actually read some comments on Twitter saying the same thing. So you're bringing it, Phil, and now I want to see if Shane can match your intensity and your passion. Shane, take it away.
Well, I can guarantee you the intensity and passion is not going to be there, because yesterday killed me. All leading up to the game all last week, I sent out a tweet telling people to pump the brakes, because, I get it, guys. We're all starved for, the optimistic Bears and the optimistic view from everybody, and we want them to get on a roll. But we've just seen this way, way, way too many times, and I'm not going to throw Lovie Smith under the bus or, Mark Trestman, but you saw that so many times, even when they were the head coaches, that the Bears would go out. How many times have we played Green Bay now, and during game week we say, Brian Bulaga's out, the Packers are down 2 or 3 offensive linemen, and Bears fans get all fired up and said, oh, here we go. Leonard Floyd's going to eat today. Akeem Hicks, he can't be stopped. And you go out there, and I know Floyd had a sack, but I know that the coaching is not there. We've known that, but I was disappointed in the players yesterday equally, because I don't care how bad the coaching is. At some point, these players know what's at stake. And yes, this was the biggest game in the John Fox tenure. And I mean, but at the same time, you want to take the next step. There's just penalties on the offensive line, repeatedly. I didn't see an inspired group of players, and I know that you count on your coach for that, but still, I'm sure most of us have played sports, and half of it is getting yourself prepared and going out there and realizing, what's at stake. And I just didn't see that the defense was supposed to carry this team. We were all counting on that, and we got slapped around by Brett Hundley and a third-string running back. I mean, how many times yesterday did we watch on first down, Green Bay would run the ball and it would set up 2nd and 5 or 2nd and 4, and it was just time and time and time again. They couldn't make any headway at all. And it's just, and Phil put it perfectly. You're talking about, Benny Cunningham, and I know we're going to get into the offensive rotations with no Trey McBride, and you self-scout your entire team during the bye week, and they came up with, Josh Bellamy's gotten 14 snaps at wide receiver the last 4 games combined. So they self-scouted, and they figured that, let's make this guy a focal point of the offense now. Trey McBride, you had your breakout game as a Chicago Bear. Go sit on the bench. That's it. There's no rhyme or reason.
Did I say that was going to happen?
Yeah, you did.
Did I warn us about this on Bears 100 Proof?
Yeah, you did. You brought it up, and it's just like
it's a pattern here.
It is. It absolutely is. And you talked about the same thing with Tariq Cohen. The Bears have so few playmakers, and who's the best defense for Tariq Cohen? It's not the Green Bay Packers. It's John Fox and Dowell Loggins.
Exactly. I said the same thing.
That's how you stop him. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to it. Josh Bell.
But I want to say something to you because it's important. Josh Bellamy being on the football field, to me, it's fireable in itself. And I know we're going to get into the offensive line because I got a lot to say about that BS that transpired there. But let's stay here with the skill position. Shane is talking about an attitude. Your best football player, if I'm looking at the offense, you all know who I believe it is. It's Jordan Howard. To come out and game plan on a wet, muddy day where Aldo's sitting there talking about how soaked he is, and you want to send a freaking message to your opponent and your rival and your whole locker room. Forget it all. It all goes on Jordan Howard, and we are going to ride this guy. And then you know what? We're going to take our shots down the field, guys, because this young man, and I'm pointing right at him, is carrying us today. And that's what it takes to be a head coach. That's what it takes to win, to recognize that this is we need to run the football to do exactly what a well-coached football team did, as Shane said. Get to 2nd and 3. Get to 2nd and 5. Get to manageable downs for Mitchell to run quick game. 3-step drop on a predictable eye. He's hitting the hitch. They get a first down. A guy breaks a tackle. Come on. This coaching staff is JV. I could go there on the bye week and put together a better game plan in my sleep than what we saw there. And really, ultimately, the Trey McBride thing is so Dowell and John Fox. It's disgusting. Josh Bellamy shouldn't even see a goddamn play. He shouldn't even be on the roster. People are going to applaud his touchdown. My daughter could have ran open and caught that pass. I mean, let's be honest. He's lucky
he made a football move, I tell you that right now.
Exactly, because they would have overturn that call.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. You're right, Shane. Because I said they're lucky they didn't challenge it. The other one, he had another catch. It was a drop.
Yeah.
He had another catch, Aldo. If they
reviewed it, it's a drop. Yeah.
It's a drop. That is consistent. That is the only thing negative that you possibly can have. He consistently drops the football. Thus, he's a lyric in the Firefox song because it's so almost comical that I'm writing this, that this is my team. This stuff happens. Like, I can understand a guy dropping a ball once, Shane. This has been a consistency. It's so disgusting, the fact that Trey McBride is having a feel. Talk about cohesiveness. You talk about an understanding of where someone's going to be, or where they like the ball, or how they run their routes, the way they have their body language. Mitchell's getting comfortable with Trey McBride. No, let's put in Josh Bellamy.
Yeah, and Phil, we're talking about these young guys that Pace is invested in, and how long have we been talking about a guy like Adam Shaheen? Finally, we see him be a part of the process. He
looked strong. He looked athletic.
And I'll tell you what, if he on that bootleg to him,
cut left.
If Inman makes a block on that, he's going for another 30 yards on top of the however many yards it was.
Watch the receiver up at the top. I want to think it's Bellamy. Watch this play. Yeah. He completely, instead of block the free safety, he comes running back to block the same guy that's going to be. I'm like, this is the NFL, not my NFL. This is a confused Chinese fire drill of a coaching staff. It's unbearable.
You guys,
but we finally see him be a part of the offense, and he doesn't get another target the rest of the game after the first quarter. How is it even? Like you said, it's JV football at the end of the day, and we're in the NFL.
You guys talked about Dow Loggins. This was John Fox's assessment of Dow Loggins at Monday's press conference.
You're with Mitchell and with this offense.
I think there's been challenges. I don't think that we've been, two offensive lineups 2 weeks in a row. So I think considering all that, and really no different than a year ago, just at the quarterback position, I think, I see improvement with, us getting our feet wet a little bit with the receiver position, the tight end position, as well as the quarterback position. So, again, we're 3-6. That's reality. We've got to get better.
John,
that's the reality.
The reality of the truth is John Fox is built-in excuses for losing. And if you're okay with that kind of theory that he's trying to put into play, you're an NFL team. The Packers have had 17 different lineup changes, including losing their best quarterback and arguably one of the best in the NFL. You see them making up excuses? No. But that's your head coach with the built-in excuse. That's Ryan Pace standing over there on the side thinking about how he signed Mike Glennon and John Fox. Who signed these guys? Let's start recognizing the problem and fixing it. And it starts with the head coach.
John Fox used Zach Miller's injury as an excuse.
Oh my God, that's right.
I mean, that's
when I turned it off.
I was on the road traveling when I heard that today, and I had to pull over and tweet that John Fox is a dead man walking. I mean, when you're putting out excuses like that to me, that's just, you're clearly just asking for sympathy.
He repeatedly throughout that press conference brought up the injuries and said it's not an excuse, but it's the reality. And so that to me was so cowardly. It was so unprofessional. It was
It is what it is, Aldo.
Yeah, right.
It is what it is.
It was the words of a dead man walking. Now, John Mullen of Comcast Sportsnet asked John Fox, he said sometimes you lose games before they even started, and then questioned Fox about whether this team and the coaching staff was ready to compete, and this was what Fox said.
How did you feel about the effort?
I thought our effort was really good. A lot's been made about, the bye and this happened and that happened. I think, even losing Zach Miller for the season, that was a little bit of a blow. Deion Sims not being available. Those aren't excuses. Those are just realities. To have, a Pro Bowl guard not available. I mean, it's, those are things that people deal with, not just our team, everybody's team. But, I wouldn't say by any stretch that we were at full strength because we had a bye week. I don't think that's reality. And bottom line is we didn't execute well enough. I mean, I think, I don't think we ran the ball as efficiently as we have in the past, and I thought they did. I think it created third and shorter distances on the third down ratio in the game, and we had third and longer situations, which dictate, really kind of moving the ball, moving the chains. So, a lot of factors, and like I said, we still had an opportunity to win the game on the last possession.
There you go.
Even though we sucked, we still had a chance to win, and that matters at a fraternity tackle football game on a Saturday afternoon. That's what they say. In the NFL, we're talking like this. Here's let me mock what I would say after this game, okay? You know what, John? You're right. I think some people really need to look in the mirror, some of my players, because changes are going to come. And we're going to watch the tape, and we are going to get this fixed, because I'm disgusted and embarrassed that I'm the head coach of this football team, and this is the kind of effort and energy that we're sending to our fan base. It is, I promise you, this is going to change, or I'm not going to be here, because this is not going to happen. What I saw today should not happen, and that is how you send a message to the whole damn team and put them on notice. Bobby Massey running a goddamn outside stretch play, doesn't even know how to get to the linebacker. He's looking around. Grassu standing straight up. I'm looking at things. You've been in training camp since August. You're an NFL team. And this is what you get? That mistakes on the offensive line? Your coaches caused that. You don't move a Pro Bowl center around. You keep them there. How many times have I said this, Aldo, about Whitehair and the importance and how he makes this whole engine work and how Jordan Howard reads off him and feeds off. If I'm an offensive coordinator and my job is to help this team win, there is no GM, no owner going to tell me where I'm going to play the best. Because the best play, that's how the rationale should be. Josh Bellamy out there, Grassu going to center, Whitehair to guard. I don't sign a freaking guy off the street to play right guard. Okay? It's ridiculous. The center playing zone plays is so much more important. It's the quarterback. It's like signing a guy off the street to play quarterback this week. It's ridiculous. It's so sad when I watch this tape and disgusting how bad Massey, Grassu, Whitehair's not playing well. He's moved around. I'm not going to make excuses up. Sitting, look like a goddamn, catching my words here, so I'm not swearing on a family show. But I think you know where the blank statement. He's coming on a counter play, and he backs off backs off on a trap play from blocking his buddy there, Clay Matthews. Something is wrong here. This is Sunday afternoon against your rival. This game is supposed to be fun. This game is supposed to matter and mean something. Just in the offensive line's performance and effort. I understand what Shane is saying. They hold a big part of the blame. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you're watching that tape, and this has happened consistently throughout this, it's just the Ravens game. We saw it in Carolina. We saw it against the Saints. There's errors. And Shane and I don't agree on one thing. I'm all about sending a message the right way. It could be for a series. It could be in practice. It could be sending a guy the frig to the locker room off the practice field to let them know that effort and energy and your focus needs to be completely on the game plan and what we need to do. And the fact of the matter is, John Fox and company have never benched anybody but Jordan Howard that I could think of for fumbling a ball against Tampa. Maybe they benched Bellamy for 4 weeks. Now he's back. I don't know, but I've never seen it other than Mr. Vic Fangio sending guys to the bench and swapping out corners that aren't performing. The head coach has done nothing. The offensive coordinator, horrific, predictable, maniacal, is not even in his mindset. These 3rd and 1s and these situational football he doesn't care about. It's just he's grasping at guessing. There's no rhyme or reason to his play calls. Formations don't dictate a play to come off of it. There's nothing that's consistent except inconsistency. And that is why this needs to end. And this whole team needs to be put on notice. Bobby Massey should be sitting. Sowell should be in. Grasu should be cut. Guy can't play in this league, guys. He is stand straight up, whatever. He's can't move. He can't function at the point of attack to play in this system. He could body and kiss and get the backer and be in a different offensive philosophy, but he is not strong enough to play the center position and make it go. It's just not there. And to set your team back and not have Howard be the motivating factor behind your offense, helping Mitchell Trubisky, because let's face it, the running game is the greatest help. It's the greatest advantage. And your offensive coordinator can't help them do that. They finally had a shotgun run, and it went for 20 yards. They abandoned it. They abandoned Jordan Howard. They abandoned Tariq Cohen. And the funny thing is, the commentary about he's getting double teamed or the people are onto it, good. Now you counter off of that, and it opens up other players to make plays. Because
that's what you should want.
Them. Exactly. So this staff is so arrogant and stupid at the same time that it is no doubt. Like I have no fear, okay? Robert Zaglinski, that the freaking head coach is going to be fired at the end of season. My fear is them not doing it the right, appropriate time and send a message now that this team matters to them. These players matter and the fans matter. Because there were a lot of empty seats in that stadium. And there were a lot of people that are giving this franchise the finger right now because of the man behind the whistle.
You know what was interesting is that a lot of the empty seats were like primo seats, the seats that people have paid a lot of money for, people who have held on to for a long, long time. And that's a really bad sign. These are people that spend money when they're there. I cannot see from a business standpoint how they could continue to keep John Fox employed, because he's responsible for this mess. And there's a lot of blame to go around. There's definitely a lot of blame, but he's definitely responsible. Now, I want to play another soundbite here. This one is about the 11 first half penalties that the Bears committed. Let's take a listen to how John Fox addressed that question.
Is this the one where he talks about, one, they were taken or accepted, so they weren't real?
This is it. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. This is fun.
I know you're going to enjoy this one.
Or tie the game.
How about the 11 penalties in the first half? Is that a red flag at all to you at this point of the season?
Well, I think the official penalties were 8-5, and that's what goes in the record book, and that's real, and that's in the history book.
Oh my Lord!
Was it a real clean game? No. I think we didn't line up properly as far as the formation.
Go on.
We went in motion and played.
Whose fault is that?
Yeah, really.
Those are real. You saw them as
no
well as I
shit.
did. But,
Who's sorry?
And it created some behind the sticks series, and that was a factor, especially on our third down conversion ratio.
But does that indicate to you a lack of focus?
Lack of focus? Is that a lack of focus, Coach? Answer that question.
I think it's all the above. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But I think there's some new people out there. That again, it's not an excuse. It's just reality.
Are they professional?
It's not an excuse.
It's a reality.
I think that's a new lyric, bro.
It's going in. Going in the next song.
It's a reality. I love it. He's going to write your next song. That's awesome.
He's my muse.
It's him.
I thought Aldo was, but I guess.
No, I'm nobody's muse, man. Coach Fox is. All right. Did you cover everything you wanted to cover about the offensive line? Because I know that was a high priority of yours to talk about tonight.
I just wanted to make sure that it was established that these comments that he's saying, it's not an excuse. There's a lot of new people. It's a reality. That kind of stuff, you're a professional organization. Your job, just think about what you do in your daily lives out there. You get up, you go to work. You're expected to be on time. You're expected to know the process of what it is you have to do for that day, whatever avenue that you make your living at. And to think that these built-in excuses are there clearly, as Shane and Aldo are saying, to save his own ass, really. And it's disgusting that you just can't be truthful. You just can't be honest. And you just can't improve off of that. That's why the level of trust that this organization should have, that's why it's an easy choice to move on from him now rather than later, because of what kind of damage philosophically and as far as mentally can he continue to have on your young quarterback. To me, this kind of environment, that losing environment, once it starts falling like we're seeing it, the dominoes are going to start to fall. And I really think it begins, obviously, with the coaches and how they use personnel. McBride, Whitehair, how they use Cohen and Howard. That whole domino effect, what Shane said, never going back to Shaheen. Shaheen showed some freaking life. Put his shoulder pads down, was moving, really giving a high energy effort. Never go back to him. It's honestly more on the coaching than it is on the players. And really, Ryan Pace, make your first real, grown-up GM decision and move on from a mistake. Right. You're going to move on from Glennon after season. You're going to admit that mistake. And whether Ted Phillips and George are standing there holding your hand, why don't you just do it on your own? And then if that's your defining moment.
Phil, are you saying that he's got the autonomy just to fire the coach without ownership's consent?
I think that's what you take the general manager job for. Did he hire John Fox? They gave him that title.
There's not a general manager in the NFL that can fire a head coach without consent from the owner. Zero.
Oh, I'm not saying that he's consent. They're going to talk about it. Is he the end most powerful voice in the room?
No, the owner is. The owner is, Phil.
Then
It's like that on every team. I'm just saying.
No, it isn't not like that on every team. The owner is going to turn over the rights to football operations to the general manager in winning franchises. You think Bill Belichick has to get approval from Kraft?
On big decisions, yeah, I think he talks it over with Robert Kraft every single time. 100%.
Well, I know that it's the opposite. If Bill wants it, Robert's going to do it.
Oh, sure. I'm not saying that he's denying him, Phil, but
then that's a different example because that's not even a
right.
Good
but
example,
I'm just saying
he's not the GM. I'm trying to think of GM.
I'm not buying you saying that make your first big boy decision for Ryan Pace either.
How about
I think that's foolish.
Shane? How is that foolish? If he knows that
Did you watch the Veracruz pass here, Phil? Was that a big boy decision? Going up one spot to secure your quarterback? Was that not a big move?
I'm not saying. I'm talking. This is your first hire as a coach.
Yeah.
This is the biggest. This is bigger than Mitchell Trubisky in my mind. Admitting that you're wrong and made the wrong decision about a head coach. It's going. The ship is sinking. So what I mean by this is that you're going to say enough is enough. That is bigger than drafting Mitchell Trubisky and trading up. And whether Fox knew about it or not, did the president came out and said he didn't know either. So who's making the decisions? Ryan Pace. So I'm asking Ryan Pace to make his big boy decision on a head coach and say enough is enough. Give Vic Fangio the opportunity to see what he is as a head football coach.
If I can butt in here and just say that I think, the point is that this would be the first big boy decision in terms of Ryan Pace admitting that he made a mistake and going to ownership and saying, I picked the wrong coach here. We have to fix this by bringing in a new coach. And hopefully the McCaskey family, and George McCaskey has said that Ryan Pace is in charge of his coaching staff, of hiring who he wants and blah, blah, blah. So if he's true to his word, then he's going to say, okay, Ryan, we're going to give you this one and go ahead and make your change.
I totally agree with what you're saying. But, even if today or yesterday, as soon as the clock hit zeros, Ryan Pace wants to fire John Fox and goes to ownership, and they say, no, we're going to let this ride out until the end of the season. I don't see. Well, first off, none of us know that, and I think all of us, to a man at this point, completely expect John Fox to be gone at the end of the season. But I don't know. I guess we're just arguing over semantics at this point, because at the end of the day, he's going to be gone.
Let me ask you this question. In semantics, we're talking about the whole picture here. So we're really coring down the apple to get to the truth. Not Fox's truth, the real reality of the truth. Who's making the decision? So if Ryan Pace, hypothetically, went to George McCaskey and was like, listen, this has got to end. I'm concerned about the direction of the team, and I'm concerned about our young quarterback and the investment. And if George had the audacity, can you see George McCaskey saying, no, Ryan, we got to wait this out?
Yes, I can.
Then
he's a McCaskey.
That's the whole problem.
Phil, that's not breaking news. Everybody, we saw Jim McMahon come out with Brittany Payton today, and she said, what do the Chicago Bears got to do to be consistent again, to challenge for the playoffs every year? And Jim McMahon looked at the camera and he said, well, they still have the same owner, don't they? Nothing's going to change until that changes. So
that's why this has got to change with shows like this.
Well, I think we're going to, I wouldn't hold your breath on that one. I totally agree with you, Phil, but
if Ryan Pace cannot decide who's coach of the Bears, then ownership has lied again, People who pay big dollars that aren't showing up, as Aldo said, need to stand up. We need barflies to use their voices. This has to get done. I'm sorry, guys. It can't be. Well, it's the McCaskies. McCaskey's pointing to Ryan Pace. Ted Phillips is pointing to his bank account, still getting a check. This has to stop now. This can't. It's never going to win. You're never going to win. If Ryan Pace can't fire John Fox now, like this day, tomorrow, next week, and before the season ends, and I get it, it's not going to happen. Why? What are you gaining with John Fox as your head coach? What are you helping? There's nothing. So fans have to speak up. It's the only ending to this dramatic farce of a football team that you have here.
Well, you're right. You're gaining nothing, and you gain nothing by him coming back for 2017. I mean, that's really when the move should have been made.
Yeah, I agree with that. We all did.
Well, and if I can jump in and just say, yesterday at the game, I started chanting "Fire Fox, Fire Fox," and nobody joined in. And that's part of the problem with a certain segment of the Bears fans, and it's generally the ones that go to the game. They sit on their hands. They are casual fans. There were a few fans who were yelling out, you're not helping Trubisky. And so these guys knew what they were talking about. But the majority, because tickets have gotten so expensive now that they're, bought by high rollers, corporate bigwigs, and so forth. And so the people that know the game really well are sitting up in the nosebleed seats, and the people in the area that I was sitting near the 50-yard line, they don't get it. And they're the ones that can make the most noise, from talking to people in the front office about how dissatisfied they are with the product, to yelling and screaming during a game and making some noise. It's very disheartening as a Chicago Bears fan to be in that environment where the people who can make the most difference aren't saying anything. But I agree with Phil that should not stop the rest of us from protesting, and anyone that can join me at 1:45 p.m. at 190 North State in downtown Chicago. I'm going to be there with my boombox. It's actually a really small boys.
Who'd you steal it from, Aldo?
The one that I stole doesn't work, so what I decided to do was bring my Bose speaker system, which is about 12 inches long, and so it'll look funny when I'm holding it over my head because it's tiny compared to a real boombox. But I'm going to be there at 1:45 this Wednesday, 190 North State, in front of the ESPN windows. The Waddle and Sylvie show will start at 2 p.m., and I'm going to play it as loud as I can. And
over and over again.
And you got it, until they invite me in so that I can talk. I've already warned them. I sent them an email saying I'm going to be there, and I'm going to have some people with me. And Lucky Kurtz just writes in the chat room that he's going to be there. So he and I are going to
that guy.
He and I are going to go have a drink afterwards. So anyone that can join us, please do so, because a crowd, let's go out there with our pitchforks and torches, and let's make some noise.
Bring your signs. Listen, social media has a distinct power. You see your own president tweeting out there. You might not agree, and we don't do this in politics, but there is a powerful voice in social media. You start talking about this, tweeting, telling your friends, all of a sudden television crews are down there. People are recognizing, and all of a sudden, 10:30 at night, little Winnie, whatever, what do they call her, Guinea McCaskey's watching the news, and here's Aldo.
Ginny. Sorry to all our Italian friends out there.
Yeah,
hey,
Phil
listen,
is
I'm
Italian.
Yeah. There's no reason to get offended. Trust me. So little Ginny, about Jack and Diane, whatever, needs to see Aldo and company on the news say "Fire Fox," and she can hear the anthem. more drops than Josh Bellamy. Fans so used to losing, the cost of tickets is a felony. These lyrics have meaning. I didn't just throw them together. If you really pay attention, and that's the unfortunate thing, big company media is afraid of us. You guys are the voice that carries us, the wave, the Twitter wave, the people that stand up for the truth and want change. We want Ryan Pace to get it right. We don't want failure. I would love to have been talking about a W against Green Bay, your rival. I was amped up for that game. Anybody following my Twitter account knows. I'm shooting videos. I'm so amped up to see the Bears turn this thing around, but I know the truth, and I'm tired. I'm tired for people that give their heart and soul, their good money, their travel across the world to support this fan base and this team, and they don't care back. Their arrogance is more important. We're the Chicago Bears. Don't wear your hat. We're the Chicago Bears. Our field's perfectly fine, even though we're seeing slipping and players falling. Everything's great. We're going to keep Larry Mayer on. He's going to always ask the first question because it's Larry. Lunch with Larry. That's most important. This kind of stupidity and arrogance needs to change. And somebody like Jim Harbaugh, somebody like Dave Tobe, somebody like Josh McDaniels, who's coming from a great winning organization that knows how to treat fans and how, most importantly, much winning and doing the right thing on the football field will spread and transcend through your fan base. Those kind of men are the people that need to be here telling little Ginny, everything's going to be all right. Just eat your ham, your mashed potatoes, everything's going to be straight because we are going to handle the football business. Everything else will get handled because winning brings in cash. And cash is all they care about. It's king. So that needs to happen. John Fox, the old boys network didn't work. I got tricked. Be the first one to admit it. Fool me once, fool me twice. No. We need a football, maniacal, young, energetic. He could be old and energetic.
Like Phil Ottochian?
I wish. If they hired me, I have so many ways to fix this place. But obviously, that's not going to happen.
Trade for Cutler.
No. The Cutler story is done. The Cutler story is done. He does make an appearance in the new song, Aldo, coming up this week, Wednesday.
Why don't you tell our audience about the new song that's coming up Wednesday?
Listen, guys, I put a lot of heart and soul into Bears Barroom because I believe in Aldo Gandia and his dream. His wife pushed him, and he started to really put a focus in on Bears football and Bears Barroom. The story is there. We've talked about it before, but Shane Marsaw really pushing me to get back into music, and then my wife, and then the Firefox song, as you all have heard that are loyal listeners to this show and podcast, came about. And I had a lot of fun doing it because it was about my passion, the Chicago Bears and the Bears Barroom, my friends, the listeners, the barflies. And that gave me an idea. And I said, let me do a segment song. And I did Bear Up, Bear Down. And then I still had that idea about the barflies and our show, Bears 100 Proof. And I wanted to tap into that. And I just took that energy and something that that not a lot of people know about me. I'm just a huge fan of reggae music and rap and hip hop and being what I am, I just combine all of this together to talk about the number one podcast, the number one Bears podcast in the world. and that's Bears 100 Proof. It is going to be fun. There's so many Easter eggs in the song, but I honestly really think the song hook and the energy of the song itself really captures my buddies Aldo and Shane and the show and the Barflies. You'll hear it in there. And that's what I put together. So it was really inspired by so much of what we do here, and obviously the Chicago Bears. So I'm excited about letting everyone hear it come Wednesday. It's going to be must-listen podcast Wednesday morning. I've got a lot of people who have, had the advantage of hearing it beforehand, because I wanted to test the water, so to speak. So I let a few of my friends hear it, and the love, and when something is special, when they go out of their way to tell you, wow, that was awesome, I really love that, and what have you. So it means a lot that this stage, Bears Bar Room Radio, Bears Hour Live, and 100 Proof coming together, and really ultimately I think the song will speak for itself, but it's all about the truth on 100 Proof, and you will hear it come Wednesday.
Hey guys, before we bid adieu, there's a couple of things that we have to cover, and number one is the overturn on John Fox's play challenge. So let me set it up this way by playing for you what was asked of John Fox at today's press conference, today being Monday, for those of you who are listening on podcast. It's funny because earlier you, Phil, and Shane were talking about the truth and being honest, and this response by John Fox is just so dishonest and so cowardly. But let's play it first, and then you guys can comment. Here it comes.
Did you see anything different when you looked at Thunder?
I think it's a good question, a fair question. Unfortunately, I can't really respond exactly how I would like to. Obviously, in those situations, hindsight's 20/20. I probably would not challenge that if I was given the opportunity again. I'm gonna leave it at that.
To be clear, you can't respond the way you'd like to because you might get fined.
You're really not allowed to respond. Yeah.
Guys, that is a cowardly response, in my opinion.
Yep.
So why don't you guys go ahead and pile on?
I'll let Shane go first because I spoke.
Well, I just think it's more of the same, and not to repeat myself from earlier. It's just, to me, it's classic, John Fox, but it's also classic dead man walking. I think he sees the writing on the wall, guys. I really do. How you can? I mean, I know Phil's going to disagree with me when I've watched the replay multiple times, and I think it was actually the correct call that they made. I think he did fumble the ball, and I don't think his foot was out of bounds from everything that I saw. But, I mean, for him to just – there's that video out there of the split screen with John Fox and with Mike McCarthy, and that sums up the John Fox, the career in Chicago. You could see the angst on his face. I know this is a family show, but it was just what did I just do? And it gets back to who he's relying on upstairs. I know Benny Cunningham said that he went to Fox and told him it was a touchdown. Everybody else upstairs told him it was a touchdown. But to me, the most important thing was when he said that at no point did he or any of his people upstairs think that a touchback was even a possibility. And when I watched it live, I said, "Oh, he scored." And then they started replaying it, and I'm like, "Oh my God, this is a touchback." And everybody knows my story. I've never played a snap of football. I'm just sitting here on my couch like you guys are watching this game. And for him or anybody on his staff not to even consider that a possibility says everything that I need to know about this coaching staff moving forward. It's disgraceful, and I don't know what other way to put it.
Yeah, although the excuses, the lies. I grew up with a father who obviously was a head football coach for 34 years of his life. And I was a young kid living it. And I remember, there's good times, great times, and then there's bad times. And I always remember asking my father, after a tough loss and the media's on him and the parents are on him, and how do you do that? Why don't you just tell the truth about a player's performance? And I always remember, he's like, the truth is, it starts and ends with me, and that will always be the way I handle it. Because there was times, in privacy, if this kid had just known his assignment and did it as he was taught, it would have been the difference in a close game, and the kid messed up. This guy is the complete opposite of what you should be, and in my mind, as a winner. And it just befuddles me that that's who's leading your Chicago Bears. I mean, you look at it, not to get off the subject, but really, has this offense changed since Mike Glennon was the quarterback? Remember we talked about that, Aldo, about recognizing that you have to do what your talent, just the lesson my father always taught me, what your talent does best. They've completely said, we're going to run our offense, and this is how we're going to do it. And really, ultimately, if you continue to do that, like, I like Mitchell Trubisky. He's totally not a bust, guys. Completely making this clear. This next statement, though, I saw signs of him being nervous to make a mistake, to cast that stone in the wrong direction, so to speak, and ultimately that hinders the process of growth. And that is a problem. And really, ultimately, why I think it needs to happen now. I'm concerned about it. It's something we're going to have to keep watching on future shows, because if he goes down that road, Shane, you could really lose this kid.
Oh, absolutely. Phil, it's a great point on that naked boot. That's right there.
Yep.
He didn't want to make a mistake, and it's not a special football throw. That's a throw that you see high school seniors make. And I'm not.
You're talking about the boot where he had the kid. Oh, was it Bellamy or was it McBride?
Geez, Phil, he ended up taking a sack on the play, and that just exacerbated it, and it made it even worse. But you see, what did Mitch himself say? I'm a gunslinger, and when you essentially neuter a kid, for 5 games, you're gonna get some of that out of you, and I know some people get scared when they hear gunslinger, but no, that's what the NFL is all about. You have to be willing to take the shots, and I think he did. I think, Phil, you point that out, and it is a great point, but still, it didn't prevent him from going deep and throwing that dime ball to Bellamy. So I don't think we've gone too far, and he's completely shut down and scared. But you're right.
I don't mean that at all.
That can change at any point, and that's, other than his accuracy and his God-given physical attributes, that's just, you do not want to coach that out of your kid or out of your quarterback at all.
Exactly. And formationally, talking X's and O's, let's just think about it. Spreading them out. What did they do? They got down and they started throwing, and then as you said, Shane, you saw him throw the dime ball. Do you build confidence off of that? Hell yeah, you do. This is the NFL. I'm feeling it. Yeah. That is how formations help a young quarterback. You put trips to one side and you put a receiver to the other side and you run motion to give short motion to give him the coverage call. Now he knows it's man-to-man, and he's got Inman one-on-one isolated, and he makes a throw, and it's a slant, and it's perfect. And that continues the problem. They're not doing any of that.
Phil, that's what we saw. We saw that with Trey McBride that got him benched. So maybe we don't want to do that.
Oh my God, it's unbelievable! Like the fact that Trey McBride got 2 plays. You know, it really is unbelievable.
Guys, we're going back to that challenge play. Coach Fox was asked about the process, how it works, who does he talk to when a potential challenge is up, and how that whole works. And this is his response, and I'm going to try to contain myself because after I first heard this soundbite, I felt like the same way I did after the game or during the game. I felt like, throwing my iPhone onto the field to hopefully hit John Fox in the head. But listen to this.
How many voices are in your ear for that?
Really, again, rather than recite for all this forever and ever, I think we have plenty of guys that do it. I think very smart guys, and just sometimes the decision goes against you, whether it's Zach's catch a week ago or no catch or this decision. It just happens. It's part of football.
I mean, that is such a chicken blank response to a very simple question. Tell us the process so that we in the media and we can and then inform the fans how this works. Tell us the process. We as fans, we deserve to know how this works. This should not be kept hidden from us. If I was the general manager or the owner of this Chicago Bears team, I would sit down with my coach and say, you have to share this. These fans are basically our shareholders. They pay to be not only entertained but also well informed as to what we're doing in order to build a winning team. And then when something goes wrong, we owe them a good explanation as to what went wrong. And if you're going to withhold that, then you're fired. Get the hell out of here. That really just made me so damn angry. I can't believe that John Fox is allowed to say and not say some of these things at a press conference. And it's so disrespectful for the fans. I'm actually thinking about when I head over to 190 North State on Wednesday at 1:45 p.m., I'm actually thinking about bringing in a spray paint can and putting Firefox right there on the window and spending the night in jail. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Spray paint it on your belly, Aldo. That'll work.
On your nipple.
Yeah.
Put nipple stickers.
Spray paint it on your belly. And take your shirt off and go put it on that big picture window. That'll make them all laugh. They'll invite you in after that.
Yeah, right. That'll be so ghastly looking that they'll lock me up for 10 years. Guys,
all it deserves, though, to Aldo's point, is an honest answer. Well, this is our process, and the review coach that we have, they informed me that such and such should be challenged, that it was going to be a touchdown. We messed up. And really, if I had to do it again, obviously, I wouldn't have. Then you make it light of the situation that was so dark. But really, ultimately, I thought it was a touchdown when I saw it live. Then when I saw it the second time, I saw the toe go out. Then the ball loses. I've watched it 15 to 20 times. I don't agree with Shane. I think that back toe hits the line, then he loses the ball. Irregardless, get the pylon cam and alleviate all the duress of this. Like, you're the NFL. College uses it. You have the technology to put a camera and spy on somebody the size of a peanut in a room with HD ability. The fact that you can't put it on that pylon, especially when these games are so meaningful, each one of them. This isn't the NBA where they just started and they're going to be playing until late June. This isn't the Major League Baseball that goes all year. These 16 games. You're playing your rival. You want to get it right. If it was the right call, I'd be fine. But I believe not only was it the wrong call, it's embarrassing that your coach challenges it because somebody in the booth upstairs doesn't do their job. I've complained about them before, and I've complained about the situation. They have plenty of technology in advance to see all the angles of it. And unfortunately, television doesn't give it. So if you have it, it should be given. And really, ultimately, NFL and this rule in itself is ridiculous in my point, because it needs to be addressed. A guy can go down to the ground and get his leg broken with possession, and it's not a touchdown, but a guy jumping for the pylon, his foot might have went out, but maybe it didn't, but he lost control. It's got to be changed. They got to address these things, use the technology, get this on the right path.
I hear you, Phil. I definitely hear you. All right, I think it's time to kind of wrap things up, and one of the ways I'd like to wrap up our show is by reading some of the comments made on the chat room. And I'm going to start with Dustin Padilla early on when we started. When you were talking about Adam Shaheen, Dustin said that he loved how Shaheen was playing Sowell, then we never saw him again. Isaiah Robles said, if we see this BS coaching staff, the players see it too. Maybe they are quitting on Fox. And Isaiah, I could not agree with you more. I am very, very worried that these players, guys, even the guys that I respect the most, who I think have the highest integrity, guys like Akeem Hicks, he was the first one to talk about Mike Glennon. Mm-hmm. Right, Phil?
He was.
He's smart enough to know, okay, Coach Fox, you may have had success elsewhere, but you're not going to have it here with the decision-making that you're doing and so forth. So pretty sad stuff. A.M. Littlefield, he says that for a second-string player, Cush was one of the most impactful injuries this season. Can you argue at all with that, Phil? That is so true.
I remember when it happened, brother, I said, I think I texted or DM'd you and Shane. I go, this is a huge blow, because I thought he was really going to be the litmus or the initiative to push Kyle Long where he needed to be, because I felt like he was such a good football player interior-wise to this team. I thought he was better than Larson and better than Sitton even at guard.
Don't forget, they invested in Cush. They gave him an extension, so they obviously feel the same way.
Yeah, that was a huge one. A.M. Littlefield also added that he wonders if the Bears organization would be considered at fault for the assault on his liver that it's taking watching them play. Chris Armstrong wrote that there is no home field advantage for the Bears over the last 5 years. Trey Busy said the FN broadcast team is calling out plays before we run them, and that is as sad as hell. He added that Marcus
Wheaton... This is twice with Spielman doing it.
Yep.
With low gains.
Yep.
And say this for Spielman. At least he has the courage to say this has to change. You got to open it up for this kid.
Yep. Trey also added that Marcus Wheaton probably tore a hamstring sitting so long yesterday. Dustin reminded us that Adam Schefter said today that if there is a firing of John Fox during this season, that it would be closer to Thanksgiving. And boy, that would be a great way to cut my turkey.
Oh my God. Cut that turkey. We'll be serving Fox.
Really? Trey also wrote, why not sign an above-average wide receiver instead of a bunch of guys that can't catch an STD in a strip club? Benjamin Driscola said, the NFL still uses old guys with sticks and chains to measure first downs. Can they not do better? He wrote that while we were talking about the instant replay.
That's another technological breakthrough.
Oh, my goodness.
I think I saw Georgia or somebody, they actually changed their first down markers to a more digital.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're trying to step forward, which is good to see. Yeah, the chain thing needs to change. Let's use laser.
All right, we are. I'm going to fade up the music on our anthem, Firefox, and remind everyone that Shane, Phil, and myself will be recording Bears 100 Proof tomorrow, and then I get to editing afterwards, and sometime around 3-4 o'clock in the morning is when it's out there for your enjoyment. We're probably going to go about 2 hours plus tomorrow because we have so much to talk about, and I'm really excited also about what's going to happen Wednesday at 1:45 over at 190 North State Street. I know that Kurtz is going to be there with me, and we're going to drink beer afterwards. Anyone that joins us, the beer is on me afterwards, so please try to make it out there. I'll be promoting it on Facebook and Twitter. Remember, if you drink, please do not drive, and always #Firefox.
Sending a message to the fandom. Fire John Fox, not a plan but an anthem. Bears farm room, sending a message to the fandom. Fire John Fox, not a plan but an anthem. Bears farm room, sending a message to the fandom. John Fox confused the close call, forgets the challenge. 2017 virtual snaps at Alice. Glennon's still a captain, opposing teams laughing. You laughed at Buff fumble, now the knee pass happened. Conservative approach, finally playing the gunslinger. Keep him cuffed, young buck, Fox stupidity lingers. First win on the road in over 2 seasons. Almost gave the game away if Howard doesn't truck Ravens. Day to day, of course, a frequent line he likes to throw. 10 minutes later, the players dump a Rappaport. Coach Fox arrogant, he needs a passing lesson. This is the coach you hired. In 3 years, he's worse than Treston. Testing, 1-2, a joke on Espin. Fire John Fox would beat the Bears' best win. Down the field turf, stop adding up slip counts. Get Fox to pick, slip to the curb, we kick out. Fire John Fox, not a plan but an anthem. Bears ballroom, sending a message to the fandom. Fire John Fox, not a plan but an anthem. Bears ballroom, sending a message to the fandom. Fire John Fox, not a plan but an anthem. Bears ballroom, sending a message to the fandom. Fire John Fox, not a plan but an anthem. Bears ballroom, sending a message to the fandom. Yeah. Fire John Fox. Fire John Fox. Fire John Fox, fire plan, fire Bears, fire boom, sending a message to the fandom. Fire Fox, fire Fox, fire Fox, fire Fox, fire Fox, fire Fox, fire John Fox, fire John Fox, yeah. Fire John Fox. Just fire that dude. Get rid of him. Shane, smartest man in the barroom. Draft Dr. Phil. Who could forget the Godfather, Aldo Gandia, the barkeep, worldwide. Hashtag that up, worldwide. Make it happen. Barflies unite.